guys. In today's video, I want to go through 3 really good tips for those who are just getting into weightlifting or for those who are returning after a long layoff. Tip number 1 is to find a good resistance training program that is appropriate for your experience level and to stick with it. There are literally a million different programs out there, and as a beginner, you can make progress on almost any of them. When you're just getting into lifting weights for the first time, your body is primed to adapt. You're most likely very far from your genetic potential in terms of how much muscle mass you can put on and the amount of strength you can gain. So as long as you aren't doing something that's completely wrong or damaging, you're going to make progress. Now, does this mean that all programs are going to produce equivalent gains if you're a beginner? Does this mean that all programs are going to be equal? And absolutely not. As a beginner, you don't need to spend nearly the amount of time in the gym or perform as much volume, relatively speaking, compared to someone who is more advanced. One thing I often see with my own clients when we're just getting going and we're getting their program started is that they want to go from 0 to 100. They want to go from training 0 days per week to training 6 or 7 days per week. Not only is this unnecessary, but it can cause someone to burn out before they get to see that visual progress in the mirror or see that difference on the scale that gives them that positive reinforcement and that motivation to want to keep going. Because there are so many good programs out there you can try, I'm not going to tell you exactly where to start or exactly what program you should begin with. However, I am going to give you a couple of characteristics you should consider whenever you do choose your program. One thing to consider is to look for a program which puts a strong emphasis on compound movements. These are exercises which train multiple muscle groups at the same time and therefore facilitate synchronized coordination across multiple joints. Some examples would be the barbell back squat, the deadlift, the dumbbell or barbell bench press, rowing movements, overhead pressing movements. These types of exercises give us the most bang for our buck in terms of time efficiency by allowing us to train multiple muscle groups at the same time, as well as providing a good stimulus for growth. Another thing to consider is to look for a program which looks fun to you and is one that you will enjoy doing, so that way you will stick with it and be consistent with it throughout the entire program. Consistency is the key. If you're constantly hopping around from program to program or just randomly choosing new exercises every time you walk in the gym, you never really get to master any of the exercises. It's hard to focus on getting stronger and adding more weight to the bar or doing more reps, more sets, more volume because you're constantly having to relearn new motor patterns for all of these different exercises. My suggestion would be to find a good program you're going to enjoy doing, stick with it, really master the exercises, and focus on adding more weight to the bar, getting stronger, or doing more sets, more reps over time. Tip number 2 is to consume 3 to 5 servings of protein spaced throughout the day. Don't get too caught up in the specific timing like I used to do, staring at the clock to make sure I ate every 3 hours on the dot for fear of losing my gains. It doesn't work like that, and it's not that serious. Again, you're just getting into everything. Just focus on consuming 3 to 5 decent-sized servings of protein spaced throughout the day, and you'll be on your way to new gains. Tip number 3 is don't sweat the little stuff. This goes hand in hand with tip number 2, however I feel it's extremely important and it applies to many more scenarios besides just meal timing. I've been training extremely consistently for 8.5 years now, 10.5 in total, so I've seen and tried a ton of different strategies. As I started to get more advanced, I started seeking out all the different tricks and tips which I thought would make a difference. I started absorbing and placing all of these new rules, for example eating every 3.5 hours, on myself because I thought they'd make a difference and I thought they would make me better. As I got more advanced, the stricter and stricter these little rules became. It was only once I got past this point and continued furthering my education that I realized that all that stuff which I thought mattered really didn't. Even that stuff which may have some small effect, the effect is normally so small that, especially as a beginner, it really doesn't matter. Focus on the big picture things and don't sweat the small stuff. If you fall off one day, hop right back on the next. Be consistent and have fun. Those last 2 things alone are what's going to keep you doing this for the long term, which is where the real progress is going to come from. I hope you found those tips useful. I really want this channel to become a community where we can all engage with each other and bounce around different thoughts and ideas. If you have any suggestions for future videos, just go ahead and throw those in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next video.